Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode, Spiritual Connections by Joelle. Today's episode, we are going to talk about spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening. Sometimes I call it rude awakening. And if you haven't been through one, I will explain to you. You might have been through one and you don't really know. I will explain all the steps. And I can only explain from my point of view and what's happened to me and then some people around me. But it is definitely a personal journey. So not everybody's is going to look the same with spiritual awakening and like how it comes to be. And once you have one, doesn't mean you're done. It is a constant cycle. It's a constant leveling up. It's a constant new life lessons, new lessons to be had to then go into the possibilities and what doors can open. And usually when you're going through an awakening, it can be emotionally draining. Physically, things might not be working. Either a relationship is ending, a friendship is ending, and it seems like the world is coming down on you. And that's your guides and your loved ones joining you to be like, no, you're just going through a spiritual awakening. You're like, geez, thank you. Thanks for that. It can be really difficult, really trying. It's really coming into your own like spiritual reality of who you are at a soul level. But there's going to be challenges that shake that reality because the way that you've been living and having your reality doesn't always fit the paradigm of where you're supposed to be. Does that make sense? So it's like heavy stuff, right? This is like the matrix kind of stuff. This is alignment, being aligned with your soul contract. If you don't know what your soul contract is, that is the whole write-up of your life story pretty much before coming down to earth and reincarnating, that you go over all the big and small things in your life that will happen to help you remind you of who you are at a soul level. Because coming here to earth, not all planets and places that we reincarnate, I know I'm getting real woo-woo out there for some people that are like, wait, hold on. But stick with me. Not all places that you reincarnate have the brainwash effect or the memory erase before coming and reincarnating. So I love the memories. Have you ever listened to the stories of small children having a vivid memory of their past life because they're coming in with a little glimpse still from their soul and what they've lived previously. And they'll remember exactly where they were, what happened. They can feel it. Sometimes they even giggle about it. I heard this one story. Can't remember if it was on Unsolved Mysteries or whatnot. That's probably one of my favorite shows. I love Unsolved Mysteries. I've watched it a million times. Anyways, a small child was remembering that their dad in this lifetime, they were little and they were getting their diaper changed. And he starts laughing and he says, when he had said to his dad, when I was big, I used to change your diapers. And he started giggling and thought that was the funniest thing. And he's, now I'm little and you do my diapers. And he just started cracking up. And the dad was like, really, what is going on here? And that would be trippy, right? Like I would probably have trouble with it in the beginning and then totally come to the realization that's what they were talking about as a past life. And how cute though that he just got giddy with excitement of how exciting. Look at this. Look at where life has brought us. Because that's the whole thing that I explain over and over again here on earth. It's about having fun, exploring, having that childlike mentality of just love and light, and don't carry all those burdens. Let all that go and live in love and light and fun, all the fun things. Okay, so spiritual awakening, and it's very closely related to religious aspects and beliefs and connections that you've had growing up. Sometimes you have to disconnect from those paradigms and shed that to come into your awakening. I never really gave up on faith. I grew up in going to a Catholic church, and we weren't super involved in the church. It wasn't like all the time, but I remember there was a steady maybe year or two where we were pretty much trying to go every Sunday. My mom was getting us out the door and going every Sunday to church. And I still love going to church. But am I connected to the Catholic Church? No. I actually am a universalist of believing in all religions. So religion is completely up to you. Like, you can still have a spiritual awakening and stay involved in your church. It doesn't mean that you have to completely disconnect yourself if that's where you feel love and joy and connection and unity and all those things. It's like, it's, if it gives you all that purpose and hope, keep going, enjoy it. That's the beautiful thing about spiritual awakening, is it doesn't hold you to any one conformity. But the sad thing is, and I'm not speaking negative. Listen, I love religion. Like I said, I don't speak negative of it. But what happens is sometimes when the role is reversed, religion towards somebody who is more spiritualistic, we tend to get a little frowned upon because we're out there, we're woo-woo. We think of loving Mother Earth as much as we do God and Creator, and even calling it Creator or calling God Source. Like, those are things that can be frowned upon on religion. The other thing, and I'm not trying to get into, I'll have to do a religious talk because I'm like, oh gosh, I'm really diving into religious aspects of it. But with religion too, is that being able, as a psychic medium, as a divine channeler and divine intuitive healer, I connect with the divine daily, and there is no limitation of who I can connect to. And I have found, especially on my socials and things like that, that what I do, people who are in a certain type of religion think that it's blasphemy. So pretty much I'm going to hell because I can talk to Jesus. But you can talk to Jesus too. And you can talk to God, you can talk to the Virgin Mary, you can talk to whomever you want to connect to and ask questions. And they love that. They love the curiosity. And by what I mean by they is God, Source, all the divine. They love that you get to connect with them because guess what? They're reaching out to us all the time. And so when you get into that spiritual awakening and you start getting things of who you might be connecting with, who's talking to, all that, it's really beautiful of being able to connect with them and feel their presence. And I had somebody comment the other day on my social that they wanted to rebuke me and that I was like satanic because I was talking and connecting with Jesus to help in healing for the collective of whoever was there. And I thought, that's so not true. And I wasn't talking anything dark. It was all light and love and healing and all about being like the best version of yourself. And it was messages of hope and all these beautiful things. People who are very much brought up in a past religious aspect, they live when they don't know and understand of somebody else's religions or somebody else's beliefs or what people do. They live in this fearful state. But fear is only man-made. We were not born to be here on earth to live in fear. It's meant for love, play, and spiritual growth. So whatever leads you to that spiritual growth, I try to not pass judgment on anybody, but it's interesting though that a lot of people who will share fearful based or talk hateful things of people who are more spiritually advanced or have been spiritually awakened are people who are of very religious boundaries. They don't cross those lines. But why? Why haven't you asked of, can I do this? And how does it make you feel though when you have such limitations? Me, it would bother me, obviously, but listen, everybody teach their own. They're all gonna do and continue to do what feels good to them. But also, there's no reason to give out any hateful comments, any hateful because of somebody doing something that you don't understand. Just being mindful and being kind, like that, being kind to everyone, to every little thing, is probably the biggest thing that I get from the divine all the time, is just us being kind, sharing love, moving forward. So when you're not living in a fearful state and you're living with love and purpose, you've come on the other side of your spiritual awakening. Let's digress. I'm like jumping ahead here, but like with spiritual awakening, we come to the grand consciousness of knowing that there is more to life than this. We evolve our souls, our mind, our body, and connect it universally and understand that we are all connected. We all have purposes here on life. We are all divinely guided. And the universe is guiding us and telling us messages all the time. So it's definitely like through self-discovery. Spiritual awakening can come to people. Let me share my story, and then we can talk about how it could influence with others. So I've explained my story before, but here's the problem with me is that I don't know how my mediumship abilities activated. I believe that it was me tuning into my cousin's energy, who was already going into her mediumship. And by me tuning into her energy, it activated mine. And then once I had it, I knew that it was something that I had to play with and explore. It wasn't something I was told by friends and family to shut it off, to no, not do that, because then ghosts will come to you and you'll just be an open doorway and this and that. And I haven't seen that whatsoever. It always felt very good to me. It always felt very comforting. It always felt like divinely guided, divine purpose. So I think that's why I continued with it and didn't listen to the naysayers. So when you have something come to you like that, where you're having almost this aha moment of, wow, I feel led to do this, but everybody's telling me not to. but it feels so good to my soul and like my purpose and like that's a spiritual awakening of leaning. That's your start of leaning into something new and accepting the challenges that are coming to you and switching your whole paradigm of who you are. And once you tap into that, like it's almost like this tipping of like you're on a little cliff and you have your first little question or that insight of where you might be going. And then it's one step. And then there you go into the deep pit of like fully immersed in it, because that's how fast it can come, because of the fact that once you're excited about it and you accept it, the universe is, let's open up the floodwaters. We're going to shower them with all the knowledge, all the like. I know that I wanted to read all the books, watch all the YouTube videos, absorb as much Dolores Cannon as I could because I'm obsessed with her. Things like that of we like understanding how the universe works, and you just go down that rabbit hole, but it's a good rabbit hole, right? It's just like it's emotionally charging, like you know that it's for good purpose and good reason, and you feel led to do it. So that's exactly where you're supposed to be. And I love how it questions reality of where you've been, of where you're going, what your life looks like, who's involved in your life, who's bringing you down and who brings you up, kind of thing, of like keeping more positive people, more people who are like-minded or help just in your everyday of keeping you spiritually like strong and powerful. Once you get into your spiritual awakening, here comes shadow work and seeing the other end of it, of you're like, wow, I figured all this out. I'm so excited. And then here comes the crash of everything feels like it's coming down on me, because you've evolved to this next level of understanding everything. And then the universes and your spirit guides are saying, we're going to send you your first challenge of, can you handle this? Can you work through childhood traumas? Can you work through ancestral traumas and cords to help disconnect and evolve even further? So that's why I said a spiritual awakening, A, is a rude awakening, and B, it doesn't happen just one time, and it happens over and over again. But I'm grateful, right? Like we're here to learn, we're here to evolve. Learning can be fun. But I'm like, rude awakenings, I've had physical pain and things happen to me that I would never wish on anybody for the purpose of my spiritual awakenings. And yes, I still believe going to the doctor and doing things that you need to. Please don't say that, oh, your arm's cut off and you're bleeding out and you're like, this is a spiritual awakening. No, I'm not condoning that. I'm saying that sometimes things happen in our physical bodies that can be a way for us to come into a spiritual awakening. And I had that. And that's why I called them rude awakenings, because then you're all shifted, you're frustrated, and that's where you feel like you're at the bottom. But it's because each challenge will get you to this other side where you're evolving even further and further. Like I've said before, it's our whole soul's purpose on the other side is to shed anything that's keeping us down and to evolve closer and closer to God. So God being source and the highest vibration that you can possibly get, it is all about lifting our vibrations and getting closer to God. That is our purpose on the other side. It's very simple. Like people might make it a lot more than that, but it's really simple, just as simple as that. So it's about learning what we need to learn in those experiences and that time evolving our soul further and further. Oh my gosh, guys, these are funny. I'm just reading the stages of spiritual awakening, which is pretty much what I already went over. So the initial awareness, that aha moment of, wait, that it's that subtle change of, is something missing? And then it says crisis or catalyst, significant life event or trauma that acts as a catalyst for deeper introspection and awakening. Yep. We went over that. Transformation. This is where you've come on the other side. You've changed. You might have changed old beliefs or shed some friends, like I said, that were not serving you. This is all for your highest good into your new transition and who you're evolving to be. And then integration, the process of incorporating the new understandings in your daily life. Your new existence is now, it's almost like a butterfly of coming. So when a butterfly metamorphosizes, it's a big word. When a butterfly metamorphosizes, it's transforming into this completely new thing. And that's what a spiritual awakening is. We can learn from the butterfly. And how beautiful, right? I don't feel like this should be, I don't know why I keep going back to as if there should be hate on spiritual awakening or people who have spiritual beliefs more so than religious beliefs or hand in hand, whatever it is, like I do. I love it all. I just think whatever is giving out kindness and love, if that's religion or if it's spiritualist and coming into that spiritual awakening, as long as you're giving love and kindness to all those around you, to every little thing, that is part of your soul's purpose, where you're supposed to be. So however you get there is how you get there. But this was my experiences and what you can interpret for your own experiences with coming into a spiritual awakening. Okay, guys. So yeah, spiritual awakening. Thank you for joining me for this episode. And as always, I want to send you love and light.